Hoyo might have just confirmed the next major gacha game release. No, it's not Azure Premilia. No, it's not Arknight's Enfield. No, it's not Neverness to Everness, Unending Dawn, Project Mugan. Rather, it is another Honkai gacha. 2 weeks ago, I did a video titled Hoyo's massive 5 new gacha announcement just shocked everyone. In that, they confirmed that they were working on 5 new gacha games with 5 different genres, 2 of which have now been confirmed to be Honkai related projects. Now, if this is your first time here, consider subscribing to the channel, hitting the little bell notification, that way you remain up to date with every single thing that I post, and I post daily. Do not miss out. On the one hand, they are in the process right now of working on a Honkai MMO. I covered this in a dedicated video as well. We don't know much about it. We just know it is going to be the very first AAA budget, high quality gacha MMO to have ever released. We're not talking Ni no Kuni Crossroads. We're not talking Noah's Heart. We're not talking Tower of Fantasy. We're talking a legitimate competitor, a real MMO set within the Honkai intellectual property. This game though, this is different. As of the last 24 hours, this new Honkai gacha that is unrelated to the MMO has exploded onto the internet. Everyone is talking about it. If you're not aware of it, then you're not on social media. Honkai IP pre-research project's first image appeared in miHoYo's recruitment advertisement. They showcased several different characters, along with a lot of different creatures. I'm sure some of you are looking at the image and you're like, oh hey, he looks familiar, she looks familiar, that character in the back. Yeah, they are probably, quite a few of them are familiar to you. Much like Honkai Impact, much like Honkai Star Rail, there are probably gonna be characters, alternate versions of characters, overlapping characters between different games. This new Honkai gacha has 5 different confirmed features thus far. First, it is going to feature a modern setting. This is not gonna be a fantasy game like Genshin. It's not gonna be a sci-fi game. It is going to be a modern game. This is likely evidenced by the fact that the girl with the brunette hair is in a schoolgirl outfit. But at the same time, it does look like there are fantasy elements to it. It will be a sense of life game. I don't know if that means it's gonna be like a slice of life game. I've never actually heard the term sense of life. It is going to be a CRPG. And at first, my first thought was, is that like the Chinese version of a JRPG? But no, CRPG actually stands for computer RPG, which is an entire other subgenre of gaming. These are games like Fallout, Baldur's Gate, maybe even a little bit like Diablo or Path of Exile. At least that's my interpretation. I might be a little bit wrong here. The next feature is interest in fantasy. So here is where it becomes a little bit confusing, because it is going to have a modern setting, but also feature fantasy elements. So we're probably gonna see like, you know, weapons, we're gonna see magic, and it's likely to meld both the modern and the fantasy elements together into something that is gonna work. I mean, let's be honest, Hoyo have not missed thus far. Everything they do seems to take off. They might not have the same degree of success, but they're all still a success in their own right. And this is the final feature. This is the feature that actually has taken a lot of people off guard, and that is because it is going to potentially be direct competition for Azure Premilia. They have confirmed there is going to be a pet nurturing system similar to Pokemon, similar to Palworld, similar to Azure Premilia present. Yes, Hoyo have already begun work on the Azure Premilia killer. Yes, they saw the interest from players in Azure Premilia and what players were most interested in. The pet feature, the collection feature, being able to ride them out, fly around the world. These are features that aren't really done, aren't implemented, aren't replicated in gacha games right now, and Hoyo know this. They are taking advantage of this, and they're gonna put their own spin on it. They're going to probably have a higher quality version of this available. Before we go any further, let me take a moment here to thank my incredible patrons over on Patreon and my YouTube channel members who allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos like this every single day. You guys are phenomenal, and I can't thank you all enough for the support. Now let's keep talking. We already know that after Neverness to Everness was announced, Project Mugan was announced, Hoyo announced they were doing an open world urban anime RPG gacha. This is going to destroy Mugan and Neverness to Everness. They are now working on a game that is similar, potentially, in theory, this isn't confirmed, but they are working on, in theory, a competitor to Azure Premilia that will likely destroy Familia. No matter how excited I am for that game, Familia is my most anticipated upcoming gacha game. But even so, it doesn't matter how big Familia is, with Hoyo's pool of players, there is no way it will be a larger success than this Honkai property. This right here is going to be big. The next big gacha. Unless, of course, Has to Weave Haven takes off and is a monolithic success, and given it is an Animal Crossing Stardew Valley inspired gacha, it very well might. Either way, this is big. I can't believe that they actually have Honkai Impact, Honkai Star Rail. They're gonna have this Honkai game. They're having a Honkai MMO. 4 games existing in the same Honkai intellectual property at the same time. This blows my mind. But at the same time, the Honkai name, I think, carries a degree of weight to it. So anything that exists within the Honkai intellectual property is going to have players from both previous games interested in it. And it makes sense because if you think about it, if they're all interconnected and they all share a similar lore, characters moving between games, and you like the lore and you like the characters in a specific game, you're gonna want to try this new version out, especially if this game turns out to be open world, especially if this is an action game. Because imagine Honkai Star Rail, but with combat that's more like Zenless Zone Zero or Wuthering Waves. Yeah, it works phenomenally as a turn-based game, but an updated gacha set within Honkai's world, but with combat that exceeds Wuwa and ZZZ, because this is at least, what, like 1, 2, 3 years away, is going to absolutely slay. There's no way with the backing that Honkai has that this wouldn't be a monumental success. Currently, very little is known about the game. They're in the process of recruitment, but given we've already seen images of what the game is going to potentially look like. They already have actual physical documentation for the game. This is probably much further along than we'd expect. While I don't think it'll release in 2025, it seems as though Hoyo is planning to release 1 new gacha every single year, and Has to Weave Haven, which I'm gonna have a video on very soon, is going to potentially release in 2025. Honkai Star Rail in 2023, Zenless in 2024, Has to Weave Haven 2025, likely this new Honkai gacha in 2026. Unless, of course, they opt to release the Honkai MMO in 2026, but I don't know, I feel like given the Honkai MMO doesn't even have artwork for it, yet this game does, this is the next gacha coming from them. And this is probably gonna be freaking huge. So expect it likely in 2026. Hey you, where do you think you're going? Don't you close out of this tab. I didn't give you permission to do that. Sit your ass back down. Click one of the 2 videos that are gonna be on screen in just a moment and keep watching my content. Keep enjoying my content.